Hi, welcome to the Cal Poly Unfiction Club. Whether you're here because you're an Unfiction fan, you want to try out one of our ARGs, or you just thought our advertising looked cool, I'm confident we'll have something here for you to enjoy. In this introductory video, I'll go over what exactly Unfiction is and what that means for us as a club. First, though, a little bit about me. My name is Joe Shaberman, known on the server as Major Banshee. I have no real qualifications for doing any of this. I'm actually a civil engineering major, but I was so butthurt about COVID ruining my senior year of high school and freshman year at Cal Poly that back in summer of 2021, I created my first alternate reality game that I went on to run all throughout the 2021-2022 school year. That game was very flawed, as you can probably tell by the use of this green Jeffrey Armstrong man that was heavily featured throughout. But it was a ton of fun, and throughout that experience, I was able to meet the other founding members of the club, as well as our advisor, Professor Peterson. And now, here we are today. So, first off, what exactly is Unfiction? If you know all of this already, I'll have a timestamp so you can just skip to the club information. But for those of you who are interested, that is actually a pretty complicated question, as the best definition I could really find was this: a storytelling medium utilizing interactive immersion or multimedia delivery beyond traditional bounds to create an experience under the role-playing premise. This is not a game. So that was all gobbledygook, a definition so detailed that it wraps back around to being meaningless. There's really three main points that it's trying to get across. The first being the interactive immersion aspect. The stories being told in Unfiction are ones seen through your own perspective. You either serve as a character, as a character in the story who can interact with it, or you are an audience member who's only being communicated to through means that regular people just communicate with each other. For example, it could be a YouTube channel that's being run by the main character and filming the things that happen to them. This leads into the second main aspect, which is multimedia delivery. Since it's from your own perspective, you have the ability to engage in the story in multiple ways. The main character might run a YouTube channel, but they might also tell parts of the story through their Twitter account or their Discord server. Anything that can be explained as characters getting that information to you through their own means is fair game. Finally, the kind of crowning pillar of Unfiction, where the un comes into play, is the idea of this is not a game. All characters in the story are treating things as if they're real. That line between what's possible and what's not can be blurred, and it often is. But everything is still treated as if the events of the story are really happening, which is the thing that makes this genre and medium super unique. The reason why this definition is as wonky as it is because this term did not emerge that early into the medium's life and was actually created to describe several different subgenres that had been persistent online up until that point. And it's meant to describe more so the key details that all these subgenres share, these being the web series, alternate reality games, chaotic fiction, and what I'll be calling pseudo-fiction, but doesn't really have like an official name. First up, there is the web series. This kind of started as the evolution of found footage horror. Instead of going to the movies to see these first-person stories that are marked as having really happened, why not just put it online directly? This can be done in a more traditional way, like the very popular series Marble Hornets, which over the course of 6 years documented a group of people's experience being repeatedly haunted by the Slenderman creepypasta character. Or it could also take the form of something a bit different, like the series Petscop, which is this Let's Play of a YouTube series of a game that doesn't actually exist. And as the Let's Player plays the game, it exposes a lot about him and the reasons why he's uploading this footage to YouTube. And there's this big mystery about what's really going on hidden within it. Next, there is what this club is mainly going to be focused on for the time being, that being alternate reality games, or sometimes referred to as ARGs. These take things a step further and treat the audience as players who have to interact with the game in order to progress the story, often by means of puzzle solving. This can sometimes be seen in mystery games like Inscription. The Ben Drowned creepypasta originally linked to a website that continued the story and players were actively fighting against the villain. And it also has been done a lot as means of marketing traditional media, like the lead up to Stranger Things Season 3. Had a lot of hidden puzzles and codes within the trailers and I believe the collaboration advertisements with Baskin-Robbins. Then we have chaotic fiction, which is probably the most niche type of the four. There is a bit of overlap with ARGs, as it does have interaction as a major component, but the main difference is that in chaotic fiction, there is no planned end to the story, and it's the players that actually shape what happens. A recent example would be the Twitter account The Sun Has Vanished, which is the story of someone who woke up one day and realized that there was no sun in his town anymore. He then repeatedly made these Twitter polls about what he should do next, where he should go, who he should help, and the audience has been guiding him along like a one-time through choose-your-own-adventure book. Finally, there is pseudo-fiction, which is kind of like the abstract art of the unfiction world. Instead of just telling a story from start to finish, these projects just kind of sit there and exist. A good example would be the Adult Swim short Unedited Footage of a Bear, which is 5 seconds of a bear, then followed by an advertisement for an antidepressant booster that just keeps listing side effects upon side effects as the woman in the commercial slowly loses it. And if you ever click the skip ad button that shows up, you go to the medications website, which has a bunch of extra hidden details and strange secrets littered throughout. So that was definitely a lot of examples to go on there, but hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into what Unfiction actually is. As far as our club goes, we have 4 main goals. We want to learn about Unfiction projects and how they get made. We'll do this through our bi-weekly meetings, as well as a few workshops we'll plan to have on the weekends sometimes, where we can talk about things like puzzle design, story writing, or just how to come up with a unique idea in a world where it feels like everything has already been done before. We also want to play. So for this, I've made a long-form ARG to be played throughout this fall quarter that you guys are all free to participate in, as well as there's going to be a few shorter experience planned every so often that'll be a bit more accessible to everyone, whether they've done this before or not, whether they know about the club or not. But I do hope that eventually we get to the point as a club where we're comfortable with making our own projects, and we can take the winter quarter to make an ARG together for the spring quarter. Of course, if we do make something, I'd hope we'd have the audience to enjoy it, so it's also important that we grow the club. We're currently pretty small. We started this year with the bare minimum of 5 members and our advisor, but we do know that from past events, there is an interest in this kind of stuff, so we hope to get the word out to more people, so that there can be more people playing what we make and more people who, come and help us create things. So this is how the server works. There will be an in-game channel where the current ARG will be taking place. This will be for interacting with characters, solving puzzles, and having influence over the story. To the characters in this ARG, it is the only part of the server that exists. That lets us have out-of-game channels where we can just talk freely, make plans for club activities, and also discuss the characters of the current ARG without them having to know about it. If any of you play tabletop RPGs, this is the moment where players talk about deceiving NPCs openly and then clarify to you that, oh no, that's just all out of character, I didn't really say that. And that's all you need to know. Thank you for listening to my little tirade, and I hope that the Cal Poly Unfiction Club gives you something that you can really enjoy. If you have any questions, you can always find me on the server, but until then, have a nice day.